Tahani Mustafa is a Palestine analyst at the International Crisis Group. She joins me now from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Good to have you on with us. We just heard there from Nizar Sadawi in Gaza that it doesn't seem like a ceasefire is likely to happen soon, that negotiations are on hold. Do you have any expectations at all for a possible lasting ceasefire?
It's difficult to imagine a lasting ceasefire at this point for two reasons. Firstly, uh, any expectation for an immediate ceasefire or agreement is gonna fail. Ultimately, there's no trust. Trust has been shaken from the Palestinian factions when it comes to any future mediations at the moment. Let's not forget that this started because Israel had broken assurances given in the middle of an Egyptian brokered, regional-led attempt at de-escalation just last week. So trust has definitely been shaken from the Israeli side, and more importantly, even now we're seeing in the middle of this escalation, no attempts from Israel to cede to anything. I mean, their requests have been to, not assassinate any more of its membership, to call off the controversial flag march. Israel's completely unwilling to cede to a single demand Palestinians are making. So it's very difficult to see how mediation in that context is going to work.
So we have Egypt trying to negotiate a ceasefire, and of course, as I mentioned there, that negotiations are on hold. But what does the international community more largely need to do you think, to compel Israel to stop its continued use of lethal force against Palestinians?
I mean, ultimately, the international community needs to do what the international community fails time and time again to do, which is to hold Israel to account, to raise the cost of Israel's occupation. Ultimately, there have been, words of condemnation, and we've seen, very kind of benign sorts of words of condemnation, especially coming from Western powers. But ultimately, there's been no significant pressure, tangible pressure on Israel, or any implication that regional states, that have normalized with Israel, international states that do have the leverage to really pressure Israel, they've shown no willingness to really use their leverage here where they can.
So do you think then, as you said, those words of common condemnation from the West, but no real tangible pressure, do you think that that lack of a strong response from the international community emboldens Israel to continue with this approach?
Absolutely, because Israel knows that there will be no cost to it, whether it's political, economic, or diplomatic. I mean, there's no cost to what Israel ultimately does. And time again, we've seen that. We've seen that in previous wars. We saw that last August, and we're going to see that again this time around. What has happened here is a complete violation of international assurances that Israel gave regional states, including the U.S., who was pushing regional states to broker that agreement last week. And we've seen absolutely, never mind the fact that that hasn't really been brought out in that international condemnation. But more importantly, we've seen, again, no attempt to really, again, push any tangible consequences on Israel if it does not try and refrain and try to cede to some concessions that are being, requested on the Palestinian side.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Tahani Mustafa joining us from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Thank you.